If I may come in here, I asked the question if it wasn't a private business. Now, most of these people that move around with the cattle do not own them. Indeed, I understand that all of them don't own the cattle they move around with.
Yes.
But what about the owners of this cattle?
Chisco is one of the largest mass transit company. Chisco himself doesn't drive his buses. There are people who move his buses. And so the cattle rearers, the person you see in the bush is not the owner of the cattle. Yes, some of them, the cattle belongs to their fathers. It is possible. But those are usually smallholders. The major cattle rearers are not these people. So those people, in fact, that's one of the things that we presented, okay, and some of the other presentations in this. That we should not just talk of cattle when we say cattle herders, the people in the... No, let's look for the cattle owners. And that can only happen when the police have started arresting people. Then you can identify who owns this cattle. Who are you working
for? Can the police arrest the cattle, or they should just arrest the people?
Police can arrest both cattle and herder. Police can arrest both cattle and herder. Police can arrest the sheep on the water. Police can arrest every cattle. If they want to arrest, they can arrest every cattle out there.
Where would they keep them?
Where would they keep them?
Yeah, you just talked about populated areas.
Listen, when we were having a lot of problem with trailers in Lagos, when the Lagos state government decided to confiscate trailers, they created parking grounds for the trucks. So if the government, if the police wants to confiscate and take the cattle out of places that are creating, look at what's happening in Ekiti now. Is that where we want to go? So they can do what they need to do. These things can be done.
And the other part that we should also ask ourselves is, how did they get these weapons? Where did they get the weapons from? How many weapons do we have out there? We seem to be glossing over that part. Isn't part of what we should also focus on to see how we can sort this out?
Good. Yes. Look at what happened in Agatu. Such a large area of communities, not one. Such a large area of towns and villages over a period of almost a week. The security forces could not take charge of this. And up till now, I hear that some of those cattle raiders are still occupying the communities. If they are foreigners, the Nigerian security forces are allowing foreigners to to drive away Nigerians from their community, destroy their community, and stay there. If they are Nigerians, is it right for a Nigerian to do what has happened? Where did they get the guns, like you said? How do we deal with that? If the police went, say, out after these people, the IG gave a law this week or last week that all the DIGs and commissioners of police across the country should begin to mop up all unregistered or unlicensed arms in the populations. How are they going to do that? They know how to do that. So if the police went out of its way to confiscate all these arms, once you get a gun has a registered license, just like a car. They can track where that gun was bought, and they can track how that gun got to this person. And they will know who it is that's arming these people, and why it is they can just move about freely armed. One day in Onitsha at Headbridge, I saw these two Fulani men armed, just by the road. Just by the road. Their cattle was not even with them. It's as if they came into town to eat. Armed. They were just standing there by the road, somewhere around the Hausa area, the head bridge of Onitsha. I was looking at these people, just didn't seem right. So the question is, the police, I tell you, the security forces are the problem of this country. And that's why...
You don't think they are doing what they can...
They are not doing...
In the circumstance.
They are not... What are they doing? Look at the one that happened in Obiaruko, where in Delta State. The police said they came to set... People were shooting at each other. And you could see the cattle rearers with their cattle in the farms of the village.
But the police eventually arrested persons, and then they were in court, and then they got sentenced. The same police.
Which people?
In Delta State.
When was that? When was that?
That was this year.
And that's not the one I'm talking. I'm talking of, maybe they caught two people. I'm talking of the major one that happened 2 weeks ago, where there was, a major crisis between the communities because cattle rearers had brought their cattle into farms, and people went to fight and all of this and all of that. And the police only came to maintain peace. That they came. How can you say you're maintaining peace when there is injustice right before you?
How much do you think setting up vigilantes could help?
The communities have no other recourse. You have no other recourse. At the public hearing, a man from Edo State, from Okada, said one day they were in the community and news came that one of the community members who had gone to his farm had been killed and beheaded in the farm by cattle raiders. What's the response of the community? So the whole community was incensed. This public hearing, the Senate public hearing, that's the recent one. That this happened this year. The community was incensed, and the community gathered that night that were going to go after the Fulanis. When they went into the bush, because they have a settlement, from what he presented, they have a settlement somewhere in the bush. When they got to that settlement, every one of them had left the place. What does this tell you? They know what is happening. The government, this is crime. This is a crime. Government cannot, by covert, you see, justice being done must be seen to be done. You cannot say you are doing something, nobody's seeing it. You see, if they can act like that, they know what they are doing. And so the government of Nigeria is supposed to seek, the fact that the president is Fulani does not mean a Fulani criminal should not go to jail.
Even though he's also given that directive that security should...
Yes, but they are not. They are not doing what they're
this.
supposed to. So what is he doing about the fact that they are not doing what they're supposed to do? Should the IG not come and tell him why Agatu, nobody's been arrested, nobody's been prosecuted, these arms these people are carrying, we cannot find any source for these arms? This is, I mean, if I give you a responsibility and I give you time to do the responsibility, and after some time I find that nothing is happening, I will call you back and say, what are you doing about this responsibility? Is it until people start like what happened in Obiaruku or what could have happened in Enugu, when people all over the place create vigilante, which is the discussion going on now, whether you believe it or not. This discussion is going on now across this country. Like the man from the Federal House was telling you. At the Federal House, at the public hearing on the House of Rep, the man from Southern Kaduna said, since it's becoming obvious that either the government cannot protect us or the government is unwilling to protect us, we wish to tell the government to take its hands off. We shall take steps to protect ourselves. What does that mean? Think to yourself, what does that mean? And that is the discussion going on across the whole South.
Well, the thing about that is that since that public hearing held, we expect that they also perhaps take further steps to see that all of this is properly sorted and addressed. Mr. Manuel Mock is a public affairs analyst. Thank you for coming on this morning. Well, we also did reach out to Mieti Allah to make representation on this program, but they were not able to do that. We do hope that they will do that subsequently. But that's where we draw the curtains today on the program. We thank you all for watching. We'll be back tomorrow. I'm Chamberlain. Also,
I'm Nel Taigwe.
Many thanks. I'm Sulaiman. Let us see you again.